Let's change our story, let's change our life. We'll do it our way, our own design.
Do we have anything to go back up, or should we take it up?
I'd like to clear out the cockpit, so I'd like to try to get a lot of that stuff out of there. Might as well leave the dock cart here, so we can use it to go back up. All right, we have 3 more drawers to go down.
You want to hand me the trash bag?
Sure. So, guys, we've been working really hard for the last couple of weeks, and there's really not a lot of visible progress. So rather than bore you with all of that, we figured we'd answer some of your most common questions. So we're getting to a point where we've got enough people watching and following us that we're getting a decent amount of questions, and there's a lot of common threads to these questions, so we figured we'd address some of those today. And at the same time, we're gonna be trying to get stuff cleaned up. So the biggest part of our challenge right now is to get the boat ready to move on, right?
Yes.
So we want to move on board, and we thought that we'd be living on board already.
Doing most of our work in the cockpit. We set up a table saw out here. Basically everything we've ripped out has landed out here. Stuff that we think we need to get rid of is kind of landing out here. So this is old cabinetry that he's taking right now. Just things have been piling up, but we haven't been able to take a load out of here. So that's, I think, what we're going to work on today.
Oh boy, the cockpit. It's going to feel so good to get this cleaned up. Get this stuff out of here.
This is all trash, right?
We need to look through it, but I think it's mostly trash. Yeah. Well, you were debating about whether or not things are trash. Actually, that's probably not. Yeah, we need to look into it.
You got it?
Got it.
I'll have to take my head off.
Okay. So I think the most common question that we're getting is on the thread of how and why, because we recognize a lot of people look at us buying this boat, and now granted this isn't like a brand new boat, but
Not even close.
but they still may think that we have big bank accounts or something like that. No. And that's probably the biggest reason why we're doing all this ourselves.
So the biggest question we get is how? How do you afford this? How are you doing this? How are you able to make this happen? So basically, if you've been following along, we've sold everything we own except our vehicles. We do have an RV still that we've been living in. We've been living small for 3 years, I think now. It went really fast, actually. It was adjusting to small space living and also saving money, and that's what we've been working really hard on. Now, the reason we have such a decently sized boat is that our boat is old for sailboats.
Yeah.
It's a 96.
The older end of the spectrum.
Yeah, it's a 96 Catamaran. We could not afford a 2010, a 2011.
But you know, they don't make them like they used to.
Yeah, that's what they like to say, and I think that's just a nice way of saying your boat is old, but they don't make them like they used to.
That might be.
Yeah.
So the biggest part is, what are we doing for money?
We work.
We work.
Full time.
Every day.
Yeah. So not only are we working full time, Corey works really hard on our YouTube stuff and our videos and trying to make content because that's what he is good at. We both work full-time jobs, and then we're here trying to renovate this boat. So
for me,
it's a lot.
It feels almost like 3 full-time jobs.
Yeah.
Because I'm working every day, and then I come here in the evenings and put in several hours every evening, and then I try to squeeze in editing video. Now, if you guys don't know, it's not as fast and easy as it may appear. I mean, you're probably spending an hour per minute, and that's if you're fast.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's much longer than that. But that's okay. I really enjoy doing it. At the moment, the problem is all of it coming together is resulting in very slow progress on the boat. And that's frustrating.
Yeah, so the videos are taking up time, which is time away from doing this. We work, which is how we're paying for everything. So that's where we are right now. So
that's the how.
That's the how. How
about the why? Why are we doing this? Because we're crazy.
Well, we are doing this to have a better quality of life and to experience new things and to live differently. We got very tired of living that normal, keeping up with the Joneses in the big house lifestyle. That is not for me. We've done it and I didn't like it. Did you like it?
No. I mean, you know,
there's parts that are nice about that situation, but there's parts that you're just like, gosh, I'm always tied down to this house and things this house needs. And now I feel like we're in a similar situation at this moment with this boat. We're kind of tied down because of all the stuff that needs to be done before we can go do something. Everything's torn apart and everything's a mess. You can't really sit down anywhere and we can't even stay on the boat, which is the thing we most like, is staying on the boat. So yeah, a lot of why right now.
So basically what Becky's trying to say is we're living in a construction zone. It means I'm not focusing a lot of effort on cleaning. I'm just working. You want me to work on that?
So one of the questions we get asked a lot is, what is it like? What is it like to be on a boat this size? What is it like to be out at anchor? What is it like to have to live on a boat? What is it like to
I'm gonna open up the circle.
Have to do maintenance on the boat? There's just a lot that goes into
that question. It's a big question. Big question. And I do get it a lot. I mean, several times a week probably.
Yeah. So a lot of people have never been on a boat like this before. They don't know what it's necessarily like as far as layout, as far as comfort, as far as all these things when you go out to anchor. People just don't experience that. I never did growing up. This is the first time I've had boats, but they've always been like little fishing boats. Nothing exciting like this. So anyways, so that's what we get asked a lot. So I guess we would boil that down to maybe two categories to give a little bit of an easier answer, do you think?
Yeah, maybe like our favorite parts and the parts we're still working out.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing that I really dislike. Now there's sometimes where I'm really tired
and frustrated. Yeah.
But I'm really enjoying everything. So yeah, our favorite and our areas that we're still figuring.
Yeah. So my favorite thing has got to be going and sitting at anchor. I think that's my favorite. We haven't got to do it a lot. It's been a lot of renovating. We're hoping to do that actually maybe in the next 1 to 2 weeks, sit out anchor for the whole weekend again. Test our systems and do all that. But sitting at anchor is just so peaceful and quiet and just like being away from everything and everyone and all the life stressors, and it feels really good. So I think that's my favorite. When we brought the boat down from Minneapolis, we spent one night at anchor. The other was an overnight passage, and the other night was in a marina. We spent 2 nights in a marina on the way down. And I always like the at anchor or just sailing or traveling overnight the best. Marinas are great, but being away from the dock is just so much better. So much better. So that's the thing that I really like. The thing that I think we need to keep working on, or that needs some adjustment, which is what we're basically working on with all these renovations, it's just the livability as far as having the things that you need, not having things that you don't need, balancing that out, and probably the heads, which we're going to be working on a head project at some point in time. So there's just some adjustments with this particular boat. You know, newer boats are going to be more roomy. They're going to have bigger rooms. They're going to have bigger heads. They're going to have, you know, fancy galleys and all these things. So a newer boat would not have these issues. But if you're like us, which I think majority of people are, a newer boat is not an option. So we are making do with what we have, and we're gonna make it really nice.
Being away from the marina for sure. As soon as we untie the lines and leave, it's infinitely better. It's like undescribably better. Like the engines are going and you're traveling and the view is different and it's peaceful and it's just so much better. And then once we get out and we find a place that we're gonna drop the hook, it's just like serenity. So that's definitely my favorite part. Quick second favorite, I do enjoy projects. I enjoy doing things, learning new skills, and there's been lots of that with this boat. The lithium iron phosphate battery build, that was a huge learning curve, and there's still a little bit to be done with that, but it's functional at the moment. So we've got a whole video series on that, and right now we're working on cabinets so that we can actually move on board and live here permanently. So coming into the marina is definitely, so I'm going to transition here. So coming into the marina is definitely one of the things that we need more work on, for sure. That's probably the top of my list.
So like right now, it wouldn't be too bad because there's not really a breeze or a current. I mean, you can see there's some ripples on the water. But the last time we came in, I think it was gusting 20, 25 on our side. So every time we would get close to the dock, a gust of wind would push us back. And we don't have much room here. We're kind of between some land over there. And when the tide is out, it's pretty low. So you don't have a lot of room for error. I can turn here in a circle and get us faced the right way and work on kind of backing up and in. But when the wind is pushing against us or the current's against us, it is a difficult park job. But we're learning, and we haven't had any disasters. So that's important.
Right. Okay.
With calm, we dock ourselves. It's not so bad.
So what is your number one thing that we need to work on?
It's the livability.
Livability.
Livability,
Yeah.
and getting everything kind of situated, the things that we need and the things that we don't need.
Well, there's almost no storage on this boat, so
Yeah.
that's quickly gonna get better. We're working. Another big question from the people that are following us and the other, sailing people. They are very interested to know what we are doing next. So of course we have done the lithium batteries, and next on that agenda is the input. We need power source. So we're definitely doing solar. We have purchased our solar panels, and you are way better at the techniques of that. Do you remember what we got?
I purchased Panasonic panels that are like a high grade, and they're 340 watts a piece, and I purchased 4 of those.
Pretty sure. 340?
Yeah, 340.
Pretty sure that's what
340. There was a 340, 330. I'm pretty sure I bought the 340s.
More information on that to come.
Yeah. I have also purchased 4 flexible 110 watt panels. Yeah.
So the flexibles are going to go here.
Yeah, they're going to go on our bimini top. I'm trying to decide if I want to replace our bimini prior to doing it, but we'll probably end up installing them at least for a bit until we replace the bimini. The bimini is functional. It's just...
It needs scrubbed. But there's also some stitching that's coming loose. So anyway, the hard panels are going to go back here.
On an arch?
We're going to get an arch. Yeah. So we're researching some ideas on that, but we're pretty sure what we're going to do. Anyway, more to come on that.
Yeah.
Bedrooms. So replacing the headliner, the wall liner, lights, cabinets, all of that's underway. We'll be rounding the corner on that pretty soon for the 2 aft cabins. Ella's cabin is the starboard 4. For now, we're going to leave it alone. It's also going to get a total facelift, but it's actually the best out of all of them. So the condition of the existing wall liner and everything, it's pretty good shape. So we're going to leave that alone for now.
On a really good news front, we received our laminate to make our galley countertop today.
Yep.
I ordered that
2 months?
2 months ago,
Maybe longer.
I think, and I got the edge bands, and then they messaged me and said, oh yeah, the whole countertop, like the actual sheets, are on back order.
Back order.
Which I didn't know. So we've been waiting for that. We just got it today. I didn't even know it had shipped. It just showed up all of a sudden. So we got that. The other really good news is we were emailed this morning that...
Wait, let's finish talking about our galley.
Oh.
Hold that thought. So now that the countertop laminate has come in, we're going to, as soon as I get done with these aft cabins, we're going to launch into the galley. You know, we've already bought some appliances, so we're gonna go all electric. We are also getting rid of the 2 separate sinks. Now, I know that there's a reason for those 2 separate sinks, of course, for a saltwater and a freshwater. But for us, I don't think that we're going to utilize the saltwater. And if we do, we'll just get a bucket off the back and we'll wash dishes that way. I don't think we need a saltwater pump designated saltwater sink.
We do have a saltwater pump there, but we may...
I'm going to take it out. I don't think we need it.
If you decide to leave it, I would just set a bucket in the sink.
Yeah, or just wash them off the scoop or something. Anyway,
we'll figure it out later.
New sink, big sink. One of the biggest issues we've had with our sinks is we get water around the 2 circles.
Yeah, and then it's leaking underneath the sinks into the cupboard.
It's a mess.
So.
New sink, new faucets. Countertop's going to be big, more counter space because we took the oven out and now we're going to have electric portable induction cooktops, so that'll be nice.
Yep.
Also in the kitchen, we're going to build some storage shelves back behind the kitchen. Like
behind the sink
behind
area.
the sink. Yeah, behind, well, when it's back.
Yeah.
The email.
Yeah, I got a really good email.
Oh
this
my goodness,
morning.
we've been waiting
I'm
so long for this
excited.
one.
So I ordered port lights because if you've noticed the side hulls of our boat, somebody has just screwed like plexiglass panels
Directly
to
onto the hull.
port light openings.
Yeah, and we didn't know.
And I don't know why.
I mean, we noticed it, but we just kind of when we were buying the boat, but we just assumed that was normal construction. And we've been looking online at other Fountaine Pajots, the Venezia line, the Belize was after the Venezia, was the model after, and this in general other catamarans, and no other cats have this setup.
Yeah.
So we don't understand why we have that.
We believe it was a cheap way to potentially fix a problem. Maybe the port lights had aged and were like crazed or leaking or whatever, and maybe it was a cheaper way of dealing with that, we think.
Yeah, really not sure.
I don't know. So I found a company.
It was hard.
It was hard to find something to fit the opening. So I found something very close, and they're rated for ocean going exterior hull, like side hull port lights.
And
so
have screens, I think, right?
They do have built-in screens. They open. So I'm actually really excited about that for a cross breeze, trying to get some airflow when we're at anchor. I think that'll be really helpful. But I ordered those, I believe it was February. We are still looking for port lights to fit the cockpit side of our hulls. These are quite big.
And you can see that they're just
plexiglass
through there.
But I'd like to get opening ones for here, so then we could open and have cross breeze in the aft cabins. I think that'd be really, really awesome. I have not been able to find something that closely fits this hole. So either Corey's basically looking at fiberglassing to have to
glass it in and then get a smaller one or something. I don't know.
So because I found like a little bit smaller in all directions, so it looked like we would have to do some fiberglass work probably to fit something here. But the ones I think I bought for the exterior hulls, the outboard sides, I think those are going to fit well.
I'm excited about that. Interior, the only other thing that we have is the heads. So we have 2 heads on the starboard and the port, and we are kicking around the idea of converting this boat into an owner's version. And so the port 4 cabin was already torn out when we bought the boat and turned into a workshop. And
they actually called it an owner's version because of that.
Yeah. And so we tore out that with the intent of turning it back into a berth, but we're really not that far into that transition, and we've had second thoughts. We already know we're going to do a composting toilet in there, and so that'll be really easy to install that, and then that leaves us with fabricating a shower pan and running some plumbing and a vanity and a sink.
And part of the reason for this potential change is we actually ordered a composting toilet, which is what we wanted at least one side to have, and it doesn't really fit in the space for the toilet. It's the smallest footprint one that we could kind of find, but the way the sink is laid out and it curves into the toilet area where the toilet sits, it doesn't fit very well. It's very tight. The heads are very small. It's a shower and toilet in one sort of thing, which is fine.
A wet head.
It's a wet head,
yeah.
Which is fine, and we knew that when we bought it. And actually, I don't mind showering in there. It's not so bad. But
no, I mean, there's some things we would fix, but
when we started talking about, well, maybe we don't need this fourth cabin, and we could potentially make the head kind of a storage area, and then make the forward cabin a head, because I don't think it would add that much weight. I don't think anything would be particularly heavier than the bed and the cupboards and things that were already there.
I think if it's an owner's version head up there with walk-in shower and whatnot, like you see, I think that would be lighter than if it was a berth.
And our other big thing that we are planning to do is the fautique. We have rolls of fautique that are going to go down the scoops across the little, I call this the catwalk. I actually don't know that it is called that. I call the back pathway of our cat a catwalk. I don't really know if that's what its actual name is. Somebody correct me. We'll admit we're learning. We don't know everything. So planning to put it there and in the floor of the cockpit.
We know it's got a little bit of weight added to it, but it's actually not that bad. We already have the product. I mean,
we've seen it on several Venezias. Actually, I saw a Venezia for sale where they had done the whole boat. Yeah. Which I didn't love. So we're gonna do the back catwalk down the scoops and the cockpit area because I think it'll be a nice non-skid surface. We're debating on doing the sun pads, putting a patch of it in there. So yeah.
So guys, we'll be back next week with more progress on the boat.
Hopefully.
There's a lot going on, and quite honestly, there's only so much of me cutting boards and assembling boxes that anybody wants to watch. Believe me, I don't want to be doing it. I'm done building boxes. But anyway, I don't think that you guys would have liked that. So hope you found something fun about this video here. And if you have any questions for us, shoot them over. Leave a comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you shortly.